Hi, today we're going to have chili. I looked in the cupboard and in the freezer, and I took out 3.5 pounds of venison, and I ground it, and I have a couple of tablespoons of olive oil in the pot here, and I'm just going to brown the meat, and so it's all going to get in here. And while I'm doing that, I have also started to frying some bacon, and I will, when the bacon is done, I will take the bacon out, and I will use the oil or fat that's left by the bacon in the skillet, and then I will soften the onions with that. And here I'm just browning the meat. And when it's nicely browned, I will pour in a 28-ounce can of tomatoes. And this is coming over here. Let's just put the bacon around. I think we can put the heat up a little bit. So we're having, when we get it all done, we'll just mix it all together, and then it will go a little faster when we're using two different places here. And so the meat is about getting nicely browned. And the bacon is coming. I have about 3 medium-sized onions, and in addition to that I have some green pepper. I have 2 large green peppers that's going to get in, and I have 2 stalks of celery that's going to get into. So those are the vegetables. And when the meat is taken care of here, I will have the tomatoes, as I said, and here are all the herbs that's going to get in there and the seasoning. I have 2 tablespoons of parsley flakes, and I have 2 tablespoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1 teaspoon of accent, and then half a teaspoon of chili powder. And I think that should make for a nice seasoning of the dish. When I get it all over here in the pot, I'll bring it to a boil, and then I will cook it, simmer it on the lid for about an hour, and after that I will take the lid off, and the beans will go in, but we'll get to that a little later. The bacon is coming here, so let me get the bacon out. And we'll take the onions. When the bacon has cooled off, I will break them up in small pieces, and I will add them to the pot here as well. There's no reason for the bacon to go to waste. We're not just using the fat from the bacon, we're using the whole bacon strip. So I had 6 strips of bacon. It looks like the strips were a little shorter than we normally get, but I guess they've all started cutting back the size of the packaging. Now the prices have gone up, so we get 12 ounces for the same price we used to get 16 ounces worth of bacon. So this here is nicely browned, and so I will pour in the tomatoes. I have only tomato sauce. As I said, this is what I had in the cupboard. Generally, I might have decided to use whole tomatoes, but you got to use what you have and avoid going to the store. So I think this here will work out fine, and so I will just mix it, the meat, with the tomato sauce. And that looks nice, and we'll take all the seasoning and get that in here. And softening of the onions is and then we'll get the seasoning mixed in with the tomatoes and the meat. And the heat is up at a reasonable level, so when we're finished with the vegetables, I think we're getting close to boiling, and so we've saved some time by doing both things at the same time in parallel. So that goes in here. I'll just give another little dash of olive oil here before I get the green pepper and the celery on here. So we're just going to give that a couple of minutes, and over here we have this at a nice boiling temperature, and so we mix in the onions, and it looks like we're going to get a whole full pot here by the time we get everything together, which is just perfect. So since this is not really a recipe taken from anywhere, it's what I had in the cupboard, so we'll just call this Paul's chili. And I had about 2 tablespoons of olive oil in here before I started browning the meat. So that's what I use to brown the meat in. And we can turn the heat down a little bit. It's boiling quite nicely now, and obviously when we're heating up the vegetables here, they will come over to the pot with some heat to them as well, so it's not like a shock. It's nice and warm when it gets over there. So that's about it. Just a couple of minutes here in the skillet. I'll turn the heat off there, and we'll get it over here. You can hear the bubble, and pot starts filling up, and there's just going to be room for the beans that I'm going to put in after this here has had about an hour's time to simmer. So mixed nicely together here. And I'll get the lid, and after I put the lid on, we'll just let it go for an hour, and I will get back to you at that time. So we're back, and the pot has now been simmering for an hour, and as you can see, it's still bubbling quite nicely. It obviously has not reduced because I have had the lid on, but so it looks a little liquid, and so what I have done is I've drained the beans. I've kept the liquid from the beans in case I should decide to add them later. But anyway, here is the first can of bean. It's a 15 or 14 ounce, 15 ounce can, and this is small red beans. I have black eyed peas, and oh, there's a little bit more in this one. So let's get that in. And then I have cannellini beans. So there's 3 types of beans in, and we will then have it simmering uncovered for about half an hour or so. And if it stays fairly liquid, I will not add the reserved or liquid that I took from the cans. I'll just throw that away. But if I feel that the consistency is such that it could take some more liquid, I'll just add that later. Otherwise, this here is now pretty much finished. It's just going to go for half an hour, and after that we're just going to have it with some flute and some other small stuff. And otherwise, I hope you have a good evening, and if you should try it, I hope that you would like it as well.